Om Sarvopanishad Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dogdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are like a cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. The calf is Arjuna. People of purified intellects are the drinkers of the milk, and the milk is the supreme nectar of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 27. We've subtitled it Psychological Obstructions. We had seen in the previous class how we spoke about something called Maya and how it obstructs us. And through that Maya, the Lord works in the world. That same aspect in the internal world is being spoken about here. That very subject matter is elaborated. So here he says, O descendant of the Bharatas, O destroyer of foes, due to the delusion of duality arising from likes and dislikes, all creatures become bewildered at the time of their birth. So we have a very clear enunciation of what constitutes an obstruction: likes and dislikes. From the avoidance of pain and the seeking of pleasure. And this is everywhere, in all creatures with life and mind. They seek to avoid pain and they seek pleasure. They go towards pleasure. Every being, including us. So we should not feel kind of so elated that we are human beings and we are so superior and dominant. Well, our psychology is nothing but coexistent with all the rest of the creation. So he says, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. So he has used the word 2 times. Moham. Dvandva, moha, mohena, and sammoham. Moha, delusion. What is just delusion? Oh, it's more than kind of delusion. It's a kind of a perplexion. It's a confusion. It is a loss of consciousness. It is hypnotism, being hypnotized. And then you have something called, you take reality for unreality and reality for unreality. It's a kind of an opposite perception. You say, this is real, and then you find later on, it wasn't real. This is permanent, and you say, oh yeah, it is. And later you find it's not permanent. This is divine, and you find it's rotten after some time. And the divine is taken for unreality. So there is a kind of a wrong perception. So you can take it as infatuation and delusion and wrong. I mean, you get a whole long list of words for moha. Yes. And what is the root of this delusion? likes and dislikes. Simple as that. Likes, happiness; dislikes, unhappiness; pleasure, pain, and their causes, of course. So this whole world is moved by these two forces. Everything, there's a joy and there's a sorrow, there's a positive and there's a negative, and there's love and there's hate. It's constant. You can't have one without the other. For a moment it will come as likes, and then after a while it comes as the same thing will be dislikes towards that particular object. That same object at one point of time will be loved, another time it will be hated. There's the objective likes and dislikes is non-existent. The subjective likes and dislikes, they churn the soul, as it were. They churn your mind. And that's why it is very difficult to even know the nature of external objects correctly, because we have our likes and dislikes, we have our biases. You go anywhere, the whole thing is oriented towards one particular viewpoint. You go to the politics, you go to media, you go anywhere in society, and it's one-sided. And then the reaction comes, oh my God, there's another side to it. And we are buffeted by these two waves constantly. So that's why the Lord says, when does it happen? At the time of birth. When you are born, these things come to you. Sarge, at the time of birth. So, there's something called, in Christianity, original sin. If that there is an original sin, this is that. The delusion. What? It comes in the form of likes and dislikes. What happens is, these likes and dislikes are necessary for the body to survive, you see. You cannot go and eating poisonous things, stale, stupid, rancid things. The body will simply repel. Oh, God. You go for nice and sweet, aromatic, nicely looking things. You go for that. Evolution has designed our bodies to survive. The brain, we think, oh, we have a superior brain. The brain is only involved in your survival, nothing else. Nothing else. This organism has to survive, and that's why this world, obviously, it's a world of duality, and so we have dual reactions regarding everything. So that at the time of birth, you're supposed to be protect. This is your armor. And this, you wear the shining armor and you go out. But when it comes to spiritual life, you've got to discard that, because you've got to transcend the idea of you as a body merely. You are much more than what you even can imagine yourself to be. We have an idea of the self. We have a grandiose ideas of the self. That also is there. But the reality is far, far more superior than what you can even conceptualize. So as long as you have a body and you're identified with it, you will be buffeted by these likes and dislikes. And when you are buffeted, imagine you're being buffeted by likes and dislikes, happiness and misery, joy and sorrow, love and hate. They're kind of slapping you on both cheeks, one side. No wonder, in the Bible they say, if somebody slaps you on one cheek, turn the other cheeks. Yeah, go ahead. So you're getting it free anyway. You get one slap on one side, and then other slide you get another slap. So you're being slapped. And then where's the time to think of the reality? This is the sammoham. So that's why he's saying, O scion of the Bharata dynasty, or the descendant of the Bharatas, then O scorcher or destroyer of foes, Parantapa. So he says, due to the delusion of duality, they say, dvandva, duality, two, mohin, due to the delusion of duality, arising samuthena, by likes and dislikes. Icha, like, I like this. Now, what is this icha? Is there something, kind of a will behind the desire? So in Indian philosophy, we'll have, you simply just cannot desire. I like to go to Mars and build an apartment there. You just cannot have that kind of stupid thing. That kind of thing is kind of an, say, like a flower in the sky. Yeah. Akasha kusumavat. So you imagine, oh, that cloud looks like a flower. Yeah, I know, but it's not a flower. It can't be. So behind the wish or the desire is a will. When you have that, then it becomes something called a like and a dislike. There has to be a will behind it. And what is the will? The will is the entire mind becomes into a wave and goes towards that object. And when it is not sufficiently strong to acquire that object, then it retracts itself and once again comes back with equal force. So there's a kind of a constant going towards it, and then, oh, I couldn't get it today, I'll try it tomorrow. And like those, that the grapes are sour, that fox, you're jumping for those grapes. And then finally, after trying and trying, then he's saying, actually those grapes are sour, I don't want them anyway. He never got them, because that's the reason I say. So you constantly, now your whole psychology is now whipped by that, or moved by that desire. And behind that desire is a will. I can acquire it. If I try a little more, I'll do it. I need 10 years of studies and 5 years of more kind of internship, and then 20 years of apprenticeship, and then I'll get it, something like that. But I'll get it. And you will keep on doing that over and over and over and over again. So this is, so just likes and dislikes, not kind of imaginary things that you could just figment of your imagination. Okay, I like this, I like that. Okay, that's it. That entire mind moves towards that. So that's why it's called likes and dislikes. In even Shankaracharya, in his introduction to the Brahma Sutras, he's saying people like, sober, decent, cultured people. They don't like uproarious, evil-looking, with upraised swords. They're trying to. So the reaction is similar to a cow who is attracted to nice, tender grass, freshly cut grass. And the cow will run away if you raise a stick. So the reaction is the same. So all beings, saying Sarva Bhutani, all beings, wherever there is a life vibrating, that life seeks to keep itself happy and comfortable. So you won't deliberately torture yourself. Of course, there are some sick people, of course. They will hurt themselves and hurt others also. But that's a different thing. So, Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Yanti, they attain, they become all these, all beings, when they get embodied at the time of birth, they come under this spell of likes and dislikes. Okay, so now this is, we have to get away from the whole thing. How do you get away? Well, to keep yourself kind of harmonious, equipoised, balanced is important. You must know the movement of the mind when something pleasant comes, and when something that's going to be distressing, you try to avoid it or try to withdraw. You must be able to have a kind of a sameness of vision. You're saying, first you start with the idea that the external world is not responsible for this movement of the mind. That same object has got the quality of evoking both the responses. So I have got to take care of this thing called my mind. How the movement of the mind. So there is something called pravritti and nivritti. Vritti is a movement of the mind. Pra is the movement of the mind outwards. Something pulls your mind out. And then something pulls your mind inside. So these two forces, they govern all physical and mental phenomena, anywhere, everywhere. So you have gravitation and you have the centrifugal force everywhere. You have the duality. One thing is appearing as two. There always has to be. Wherever there is any physical or mental configuration, both these forces come into play. And they kind of churn you. One is pulling you this side and one is another pulling you inside. I mean, outside and inside. You will have to reduce those forces tugging at you outside and tugging at you inside. So keep yourself balanced. And that is by understanding that there is a higher entity, higher than these two forces. As long as you are in the world of these forces, there will be creation. And this creation is this. Creation, see, when everything is going on nice and calm and well, be careful. Wait for some disturbance in your life. It's always there. When everything is going on well, there will come a disturbance. You know, Mother Kali, her job is nothing but to keep everybody and everything engaged. Keep them engaged. Keep them occupied. You know? So what does she do? When the waters of creation are getting calm and quiet and this, she will come and disturb those waters of creation. And then again, things are become choppy and becoming exciting. That's what she wants actually. So when you are meditating nicely, calm, the mind has become, she will come and move their mind a little. Then you'll think, oh, now I've got to eat that chocolate ice cream which I've saved for me. There, it's gone. Then you're meditating, and then after some time, instead of meditating on the deity, you'll meditate on the chocolate ice cream. And then the chocolate ice cream slowly will make you get up from your seat. I'll continue my meditation. After a while, he'll go and finish the chocolate ice cream. After he's satisfied, he'll come here and sit down. By that time, it's all over. So, never be complacent. The battle will last throughout the day. So, remember, the nature works like that. She will not give you rest. She's not supposed to give you rest. Keep on. If I'm working, you also work. Work for me. You jump and dance and sing. And okay, now that's a good thing. Keep on singing, dancing. And then you get a stomach ache and say, okay, I've got a stomach ache. Okay, now go and take rest. Okay, go. She's keeping you engaged with this. Likes and dislikes. Constantly. Happiness and unhappiness. Joy and sorrow. So this is embodiment. When you are born, you come like this. This is the greatest obstacle. People say, why can't everybody go towards God? We want to go. All of us wants to go towards God, but we come across big obstacles. In the thumbnail, we've put a road and a big boulder that has kind of slid down the hillside or whatever, and is now sitting in the middle of the road, center of the road. Now, go. Either you go across the road, which is a little difficult, but it's there. Every phenomena has a positive and a negative. Okay. Then the next one is here. If that is the case, what's the use of everything? And who can even try to know the reality? But as you've seen, the subject matter had begun in Chaturvida bhajati mam jana sukritino arjuna. 4 types of persons worship me. Those who are endowed with good qualities, endowed with good works. Okay, so he's picking up the thread of the 4 types of persons who worship God. The afflicted, those who want success in everything, those who are the seekers, and those who are the people of knowledge, Gyani. Okay. So even they have likes and dislikes. Yes, they also have. But they have one advantage, which this Lord enumerates here. On the other hand, those persons who are of virtuous deeds, whose sins have come to an end, they, being free from the delusion of duality and firm in their convictions, in their vows, they worship me. This is so you see, this is how the Lord comes down to where exactly and what exactly we need to do. On the other hand, yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam drida vrataha. Their drida is firm. Vrata is vow, is conviction. When they worship God, they're going to worship with that firmness, a conviction that God alone is real and everything else is a passing show. Okay. So when does this come? Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of 2 farmers. One farmer, he's quickly dissuaded by his family, his wife, when she comes and says, you carry things too far. Come, it's time for to eat, come. And guy leaves digging the channel and he goes. The other guy also is being told to come home. He says, no. There's a drought going on. We need water and the children will starve. I'll rest only after I've managed to cut a channel of water to the fields. And then he succeeds. So this is what? I'm going to take up this task and I'm going to finish it. I'm going to see it through. So these people of just such kind of faith and conviction, these are the people who worship God. And they are free from the delusion of duality. They are not buffeted so much by likes and dislikes. Why? because they have become freed from all the other hindrances that were there in their mind. This is nice, this is not nice. This thing has been snapped. So in here is saying they are those whose sins have come to an end. They are, they have come to a degree of purity where now they are not so easily deluded. See, when you start taking God's name, we've been taking God's name so much, nothing's happening. What happened? I said, why do you look there? Swami Vivekananda, when he was in his itinerant days, he meets a great, you can say, monk, Babahari Baba. And then Swamiji asked him a few questions. He's saying, the secret of work. In fact, Swamiji gave a lecture on the secret of work. He's saying, let the end and the means be joined together in one. When you are doing a work, think that this is the highest thing that you can do and you will do. Leave the ideal now and it will come to you. But take care of the details. As they say, the devil is in the details. And actually the devil is in the details. So take care of the details. I'm saying so many years, you don't know, you don't realize, when you take care of the details, a lot of your illusions go away regarding the world, regarding yourself, regarding people. You can see things extremely clearly. You are no longer jumping at the dictates of anything or anybody. You see things a little more deeper. So this is the initial results of adoring God. And this also indicates that, all my old demerits that were crowding in my mind have all kind of gone away. Or they have become attenuated to a certain extent where they become manageable. A person, a great soul also, you might see how this person likes and dislikes. You might have. But that person actually has conquered the likes and he is not deluded by that. That's a normal reaction of the body. Okay. A guy is walking and suddenly there's a car behind honking. So he'll kind of take evasive action. It's not that, he has dislikes for that. No. So that guy also will take evasive actions. But he will not be deluded by that evasive action. So this is how he's saying, Yesham, to those, but antagatam papam. A beautiful word. Those whose sins have come to an end. Great words. Jananam hud punya karmanam. Those who are of virtuous deeds, of good deeds. That's the reason why we are asked to do good and be good. And as you think, and so will you become. As you will think, so will you be, as the Buddha says in his great words. So it is your mind that creates your future. It is your mind that opens a path. So think good thoughts. So Swamiji says that the great Buddha, let all beings be happy, let all beings be peaceful, let all beings be blissful. He turned towards the east and said these words, and all the beings in the east were filled with happiness. Then he turned to the west and north and south, up and below, and the whole world was full of that, the Buddha's happiness. So when you wish someone well, you have accumulated power to transform others' lives. So these are the punya karmanam. Or just, it's a very, very nice very nice person. That nice person cannot transform others. The moment that nice person can transform others, then you know it is that person is established in this virtuous deeds, punya. Those dvandva moha nirmukta, they are free from the delusion of duality. No longer will they see, they don't mix up reality from unreality. They know the sharp distinction. They know how the mind works. So they worship God with firm faith. That is the idea. And why? Because what happens is, Sri Ramakrishna gives another example of a farmer who is a traditional farmer. Even if 1 year or 2 years there's no monsoon, there's no rain, the crops fail, that person is not going to leave farming because his 1 crop or 2 crops have failed. Because that guy does not know anything other than this work. He is going to stick to this work. But another newcomer, crops fail, forget it. I'll sell this company, sell this land and go do something else. So there is Swami Sri Ramakrishna, Khandani Chasa. That is, he's got generations and generations of farmers behind him. He's born in the family of farmers. So what happens is, when you are worshipping God, you worship God with that firmness. Okay. So how is that taken? First thing is, like Sri Ramakrishna, God is real. So this is the starting point. Asti iti eva upalabdhavya tattva bhavena. That is, God exists. It is asti. It is there. And one has to worship it that way. And when one worships it like this, then that reality will flash forth. Okay, when you look at the picture of Sri Ramakrishna, here's the picture. No, it's not an ordinary picture. Keep on looking at it, you'll find your mind getting transformed. Keep on looking at it. See the magic that happens there. You tried it? Well, try it. You keep looking at it intently. See how your mind changes. And Holy Mother has said, well, like the body and its shadow, like Sri Ramakrishna dwells in his picture. So here you have, now this itself should make you full of faith. Yeah, Mother has said this, and I'm going to take this as the starting point. Now you start. And now you worship with that firmness or the firm faith. Otherwise, Sri Ramakrishna, God, I've got to do something else. Which flower? I'm taking this flower, breaking this flower, put it here in that sandal paste. My mind is somewhere else. That won't do. When I'm going to worship, I'll go to doing japa, I'm going to meditation. I'm going to sit down and give God some quality time. This is what is required. For 10 minutes or half an hour or 20 minutes, wherever, I am going to sit down and really worship God. I'm going to just forget everything. So one of the commentators have said that sarva parityagena vratena. So by the firm, you can say, belief that this is real, God, and I've got to give up every other thing now. Sarva parityagena. So I give up everything. All my volitions. Okay, I've got to do this. Keep that for tomorrow or later. And this is what gives your spiritual practices power. So this is what is. On the other hand, those persons who are of virtuous deeds, whose sin has come to an end, they, being free from the delusion of duality and firm in their convictions, adore me. So these are those 4 classes of people who worship God. Without any, you can say, yeah, they are afflicted, but so they worship. They want success, yeah, they worship God. There's no doubt that at least they are worshipping God. They are not going to some drug dealer there. Let's go for it. I want to forget my all my troubles. So I'll go to God. So at least they are going to God. They are much better than anything. And then what happens is, when God responds, Sri Ramakrishna says, God responds to sincere prayers. Then the moment you now and then get a response, you won't get it every time, of course. Now and then you get a response, then you become an inquirer. God, is it true that this grace of God is kind of descending on me? Yeah. And then as you keep on inquiring, you keep on pushing your inquiry, and then you get the secondary knowledge, yes. And then later on you get a primary knowledge. And then it's over for you. So this is the psychological obstructions to reality. It's your own mind. Part of this mind has been designed by nature, obviously, and part of this has been designed by you. So it's for layers after layers after layers. People go to the Grand Canyon. Oh my God. But the geologist will see things differently. Oh my God, look at those strata. Millions and millions and millions of years have deposited their kind of sediment, and you see different strata. They are not going, it's so spiritual. Those guys will say, yeah, it has taken millions of years for that. This is what, see things deeply inside. So both the external world and your mind is in sync. Obviously, you have to be in sync. And then they are both buffeted by this, which is an obstacle. Once you get rid of it, and the only way you can get rid of it, there is an entity higher than the mind. And that is what I want. Okay? So slowly we go towards that with firm faith, with firm steps, and then we attain that. Bhajante, they worship me, worship God. Bhaj dhatu, that is devotion. We'll stop here for questions. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Yeah, you'd.
Brilliant, sir. How to not become egoistic when we are praised?
Praised. Well, you can become egotistic when you are praised, but someone else is there to puncture you the next moment. So if you are egotistical when you are praised, you will get deflated when you are criticized. This is the world. So don't pump yourself too large. You'll get deflated. Okay. So, of practical purposes, understand that your success for what people are praising you has dependent on years and years and years of toil and hard work. Nothing has come easy for you. So why do you have to? And then tell yourself that there is more to attain. This is just the beginning. So you keep on working harder and harder and harder. So from the practical standpoint, yeah, can go ahead. There's more to attain. Yeah, so there we have. We have another one here.
In relation to that one, that is that the way I look at it, somebody that is seeing something good in me is great of that person, because other person will not see that. So it is the person who is complimenting that person is the great one, because they see some nice thing.
Yeah, people of course have different motives. Somebody comes and starts complimenting you, be careful, see what's the motive like. The guy might be asking you next day for a loan. But the idea is each and every one of us, each and every one is unique. And this is not only amongst human beings. You see it in animals also. They also have personalities. Oh yes. The tiger might be kind of frightful to you, but the tiger has personality. That person also, guy also, he has life and he has his own stuff, tiger stuff. If you can understand the uniqueness of this creation, you will stand in reverence to all of creation. And you will not compliment that particular person, you might, but you will compliment the Creator. Oh, what a wonderful thing you guys have done. And see how we are spoiling things. You will also understand how you are spoiling things. What kind of wonderful thing. Imagine how delicate, how balanced everything is. Each thing is linked to another. And you don't know how things operate. It is so wheel within a wheel within a wheel, this mechanism. And that's why only God could have created this kind of thing. Yeah. Because you see intelligence displayed everywhere. We say, oh, there's no intelligence, only we are intelligent. No, sorry, there's intelligence everywhere. So, there's intelligence everywhere. So, what's that intelligence? It reflects God's intelligence. Everything is consciousness, it reflects God's consciousness. Can't we see that? We don't see it. I have a mind, yeah, but your mind itself is a reflection of God's mind. Why don't you see that? And if it's here, then it's everywhere. And this makes life worth living. It's very important. So, yeah, people compliment you. And as natural is kind of, in a civilized society, you need to acknowledge other people's talents and qualities. It's very important because that is the fulcrum of growth. If a person keeps on telling another person, you are useless, you are bad, you are a sinner, and Sri Ramakrishna never liked this. The wretch who thinks himself as a sinner, he will become a sinner. And not only he or she thinks of himself as a sinner, there are preachers who will preach, you are sin, you are born in sin, you are living in sin, you will die in sin, and then you will go in a place which is even more sinful. No, tell children, tell everybody that they are children of light and love. Swamiji says in his first 1893 Chicago Parliament of this, Amritasya Putra, you are children of immortal bliss. Sinners, It's a standing libel on human nature. This is what he says. And we have been preaching all these kind of wrong doctrines. So the moment you tell somebody, yes, you have the potential, you have the capacity, you have the talents, you have the entire power of the world behind you if you want to, and you will succeed. That is how we can. Okay. How can you establish an Atman devoid of Maya and serve the world? Yeah, how can you establish an Atman? You are actually established in that, but you do not realize it. And get established in the Atman and forget about serving the world. If the Lord lets you serve the world, you will serve it. First, get yourself, but that also is a form of egotism. I will serve the world, I will help the world. Okay? Like Sri Ramakrishna says, first realize God, and then you do whatever you have to do, you can do later on. So this is how can you establish in the Atman? Through spiritual practices. That is that. What is the spiritual practices? Instead of going outside, you go inside. Okay? That is the essence of spiritual practices. Freedom Song, could you please extrapolate upon the importance of taking care of details? Oh yeah. Do I have to tell you, there's a devil in the details. Huh? Do everything with attention. Take for instance, Holy Mother saw a person sweeping, using the broom to sweep the floor, and then just throws the broom abstractedly in a corner. Why you're going to reuse that broom? Even have that broom also has dignity. Keep that broom in its proper place. When you take things out, replace them with the proper place. When you go to a place, leave it cleaner than what you have found it there. Don't procrastinate. Look at everybody with care and attention, and you will be taking the devil by the horns. If the devil has a horns, maybe taking the devil by the horns. So that is okay. Politeness is the oil that lubricates society. Yes, of course. It is also politely, you can say, and it's really love that lubricates the wheels of society. So love is much more deeper than politeness. So, okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.